All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, talking about stage 19 and a half, right?
18 and a half.
Brought to you by PATRON Tequila. I got my Patron. Wait till you hear who my Patron of the day is. But I'm Lance Armstrong with JB Hager and George Hincapie, and yet again, another new one, special guest, to come later to read us our RoadID trivia contest question. I'm just stumped. But JB, go ahead and play us where the stage was from where to where.
Where it was supposed to be.
Where it was supposed to be.
Stage 19 is Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne to Tignes.
So I tried to get a hold of Alain today because I would love a correction on that. Because actually it was Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne to Col de la Israël. Boys, we'll get into it deeper after a little bit of business, but just top level, top line, I'm kind of speechless. I mean, it was surreal watching what went down.
It was very surreal. It was this tour does not stop to impress and surprise us. I mean, we were blown away today sitting in your basement watching that unfold.
Well, you have to keep in mind there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast and they haven't watched the stage, and they listen while they're doing stuff at work and they're going to watch later tonight. Spoiler alert, the stage was canceled midway. Landslide.
I mean, it really was. The initial images were of hail, and it was more hail than snow, but that, in and of itself looked justifiable to cancel the stage. But and what we then saw, actually, can we cue it up right quick, Higgs, back there? This is snow and hail and whatnot. Oh, I mean, this means you can't race, right? I mean, I know the old guard would be like, some snow, some hail, but
that's 2 feet of mud.
Yeah, you just can't get through that.
Absolutely not.
And there's actually video footage of it right when it was beginning, and it was just racing through there.
Yeah, a lot of people were asking had we seen this before, and actually my first Tour de France in 1996, we were getting ready. We started the stage, and I believe they stopped us because it was just blizzard conditions going up the Telegraph and Galibier, which is not far away from where they're at now. And then they restarted us with 50 kilometers to go in a valley, and it was just full gas in this field, and I was just thanking the good man above for not having to make me do that whole stage, because I was my first Tour de France. I was in a world of hurt, and all we had to do was race down this valley and do a 10 climb. I think it was, I forget the name of the climb we did, but Bjorn Ries rode away from everybody on the climb, and I was able to ride up in the gruppetto. But that was the only time I remember a Tour de France stage being altered like that.
Well, lots to talk about. We're going to get into it. Before we get there, let's do a little bit of business. Today's show is brought to you by RoadID. I'm rocking the white one today because I feel as the race approaches with George, I'm feeling younger. Okay. Had a bad day on the training ride yesterday. Took it easy, but I believe that I am feeling younger and younger. So I'm rocking the white RoadID today. What an idea. I mean, if you're out biking or hiking or anything really, motoing, as we did the other day, and you're left unconscious and cannot communicate, there's a couple things you need. One is you need a helmet, right? Unless you're hiking. 2, you need your RoadID, right? And so critical health information, contact information, now 5 different wrist styles. This is one of them. They have the whole tour package, the polka dot, the yellow, the green, the white. Edward and his team, I mean, I don't know why we didn't think of this, JB. We wouldn't be sitting here. I mean, what do you think Edward's doing right now? He's probably in the Bahamas.
Right.
Beach somewhere.
I mean, and they're like $25 to $35. Like, that's why would you not get one?
Why would you not? It makes all the sense in the world. Our listeners, and this is for the tour collection, right? So the white, the yellow, the green, and the polka dot, my favorite, the polka dot. Go to roadid.com, check out their tour collection, 40% off for our listeners. 40% off. Today's show also brought to you by PowerDot, as it is each and every day. Full disclosure, we are investors in PowerDot over at Next Ventures. I don't know if that's a disclaimer or an endorsement, but we love the product. We love the team. It is the most mobile, effective, efficient eSTEM unit on the planet. As much as we move around and travel, I just throw this bad boy in my backpack. Any ache or pain, any day that I need some recovery, just slap it on. I've got the app downloaded, powered by enabled, Bluetooth enabled. Set the tone with the shoulder, the knee, the back, the quad, whatever. Just fire it up. Pick your intensity. Love these guys over there. Our listeners, 20% off. Go to powerdot.com/THEMOVE. The buy code is THEMOVE. 20% off. So let's talk. So what is it? You're right. Well, and before we get to it, and I don't believe there's any landslides there today, special shout out, because we've gotten a lot of messages from folks at RAGBRAI. This is, and if those who don't know what RAGBRAI is, if you're listening from somewhere else or you just don't know, RAGBRAI is the largest annual bike ride in the world, right? A multi-day bike ride, I guess, which is 5 days across Iowa from the west to the east. Route changes every year. RAGBRAI stands for Registers Annual Great Bike Ride across Iowa. Been going on like 40 plus years, 30,000 plus people a day. We typically go every year. We couldn't swing it this year. We hate to miss it, but shout out to everybody in Iowa. I love TJ and his whole team. If you've never been, I mean, it's like, this shit's like Burning Man on a bike. I mean, I've
never been. I can't fathom. I'm telling you, 30,000 people rolling into a small town.
Some bitches on high wheelers, skateboards, unicycles, everything.
Apparently, after last night, we actually are going to Burning Man as well, right?
Last night, I thought last night was Burning Man. We have video footage of Anna and all of her buddies getting down. I was asleep, but there was video footage of them just getting down, and I was like, "Damn, why did I go to bed?" But we had everybody there. Well, I won't say who our special guest is that's going to read the trivia contest, but she made an amazing paella dinner. Had Papa John, we had Brody and Miss Candy, we had everybody.
Yeah, it was a good crew.
Yeah. Woo. But I'm a little nicked up today.
Couple days before a big race, that makes sense.
And what a day to be nicked up on, because that was an incredible bike race. I mean, from what we saw early on with some drama with Pinot, obviously one of the favorites to win the Tour de France. I mean, I was heartbroken watching it. And I know you don't feel the same way.
You were heartbroken.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had to pull out of the Tour de France. And he clearly could have been one of the top guys.
Because he hit his handlebar with his leg.
Yeah.
That's not a reason to quit the Tour de France.
Well, you don't know how bad it was hurting. It must have been hurting really bad.
Well, how frustrated do you think he is pulling out and then the race stops not long after that? He could have had a day to recover.
He could have used the power. I'm just not to keep going on this. That would have helped that injury. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think anybody foresaw what happened today. I mean, we're all kind of still in shock. We're still trying to get the information, the exact time gaps. And thank you, Johan, for keeping us up to speed with the info you're getting. But what a day.
There is no information.
The official tour site has no numbers on stage rankings from today and nothing on the GC.
Right. So what happens is after Thibaut Pinot, one of the favorites, pulls out, obviously a podium contender, they canceled the stage.
Yeah.
Right. So they get over this, as we said, the new finish, the Val d'Iseron or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it starts hailing, snowing, raining.
Not on the riders.
And then the mudslides, the landslides on the final climb. And just like that.
Yeah.
They came over the radio. The officials, the race is canceled. And what I thought was interesting, and I think it's really cool and this is what I love about bike racing and bike racers, is that you can tell them, your director can tell them, the official can come up and say the race is canceled. They don't stop.
Yeah.
Like these guys, they just kept going. They didn't believe it, and they didn't want to believe it, and they just didn't want to be duped or fooled or tricked. And they just keep going, and that is the right thing to do.
Right.
Nobody.
It's happened before, and that's why I think we saw Uran and Nibali arguing, because in the Giro 4 or 5 years ago when Quintana won, they neutralized it at the top of the mountain. So Uran kind of pulled over, got a jacket. He thinks he's going to chill on the descent, and Quintana and I believe Nibali just kept going, and they never slowed down. And Uran ended up losing the Giro because of that, because he thought it was neutralized. They said, "Screw it, we're going to keep going." And let the cards play as they did, and they ended up gaining some valuable time when Uran thought it was neutralized. So I'm pretty sure today he was like, "Dude, you screwed me over last time. I'm gonna go until somebody pulls me off my bike."
Yeah. Well, and like Bernal's probably not going to remember that race.
No, Bernal, no, but
right. But I guarantee you his director did, and they're in his ear going, "Keep going, keep going."
Well, you saw Simon Yates clearly getting the information. He was trying to.
Yeah.
to tell it to Bernal, and he just wasn't having it, which you shouldn't. You should keep going until literally you see Christian Prudhomme, the race car, this race is over.
Right.
You got to go until that point.
Getting word from the moto wasn't good enough, right?
No.
Yeah.
And look, nobody. Just the only thing we do know is that the weather turned, and it was the right decision. We saw the image. You can't race through a mudslide or a landslide, but there's just a bunch of speculation on
What would have happened.
What would have happened? I mean, is this people? The French fans will be like, "Oh my God, this is a catastrophe for Alaphilippe. He would have come back on the downhill, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He'd have lost 5 minutes. I mean, just saying. He's lost 2." As it sits today,
yeah, they still had another.
He would have lost a lot more than that.
Well, he was on his own. Yeah, it would have been I think it was possible he came back to Geraint Thomas's group.
Yeah.
Which then he could have, perhaps been a lot closer.
He was very gracious in his comments.
We can never guess what would have happened.
His comment. He said at the finish, or what then became the finish, is that he feels just very grateful that he was able to have the yellow jersey for as long as he did, and he hates to lose it, but he's happy, and so that's class comments. I want to throw out too, because I think again we're speculating here. Like Egan Bernal is out there, he's got Simon Yates with him. What happened? Like if this race actually happens, does he get caught? Does he put more time into them? What happens? Right. So the race. Look, it is what it is. It would have been, or could have been, completely different if they actually completed the stage.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind, and I know you don't agree with me, that my patron of the day is Simon Yates, because we're all talking about this crazy, epic GC battle going on that we're kind of missing. Like Simon Yates was probably going to win his third stage.
Do you think so?
Look,
he had caught up to Bernal. He had no reason. He didn't have to help Bernal through this massive downhill, massive valley.
George
could have sat on, worked a little bit, but he would have won the stage.
Look, I
feel bad for Matt White. I feel bad for the whole team.
But I like the guy. He's won 2 stages. He's won stages in all the big tours. You're wrong. Egan Bernal would have, assuming they stay away, Egan Bernal has to go as hard as he can on that final climb.
Yeah. But he has to go as hard as he can on the downhill in the valley leading up to the climb. And Simon Yates could have just pulled through very easily, thinking about the finish.
All about the
and
paper,
not about the time.
All about the
There's
paper.
no paper.
Or
he was thinking about the win. He would have won today, guaranteed.
Or Bernal.
Guaranteed.
Have you lost your mind?
100% would have won.
Have you lost your damn mind? The best climber in the world, I promise you. I bet my life.
Did a massive effort to catch up to Simon Yates.
Whatevs. He'd have ridden him right off the wheel. Stop it.
We'll get Whitey on the phone. Whitey agrees with
Or
us.
Stop it.
Bernal would have said, "Just work with me. You'll get the stage win."
Because he can't
No,
say that.
he
'Cause
can't
he
say
has
that.
to
He
go
had to go
as hard as he can on that final climb.
Because you don't know what's going on in the back. I mean, there was a chance Alaphilippe was catching Geraint Thomas' group.
Okay.
There was a chance that Alaphilippe would have made an agreement with the 2 Jumbo-Visma guys, and they would have worked together. He would have caught Richie Porte as well. Richie Porte had, a lot in it to work as well. I mean, there could have been a lot of things happening. We'll never know what would have happened.
Ask Whitey. Because Whitey will know.
Whitey thinks that Simon would have won the stage.
He does? He said that?
Absolutely.
Oh, please.
What do you think I'm doing while you're making eggs and breakfast? I'm like calling out my people, trying to get the inside scoop.
I'm loading up for my race. My patron of the day is, without a doubt, the one person in this bike race that is truly undefeated, and that is Mother Nature. In terms of affecting the race and being the boss, being the patron, Mother Nature.
I don't usually pick a patron of the day, but I got to give it to that guy in that tractor trying his damnedest to get that stuff off the road.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Nobody even told him that the king
It's
was canceled.
over. He was working it.
He's just going back and forth. Confusing day, and then the coverage. Then all of a sudden we go to like a car auction.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. How about some? It was pandemonium. No.
What
And you think about it at the finish. I mean, riders typically, get to their bus, cool down. A day like that, you want to be inside of a bus. Well, they're in the middle of nowhere, essentially.
Yeah, and they all had a look on their face like, what the F just happened?
Yeah, and they're trying to get in cars.
I'll tell you who was happy. Was the whole gruppetto. they were going up that Col des Iran going, are you kidding me? You just gave me a bonus of 50 kilometers. I don't have to ride that last mountain. I'm in the time limit. Thank you very much. See you in the douches. I'm very happy
but there was
about
no
this.
douches.
There was no douches.
There was no douches.
But you can see some of the guys laid out on the side of the road just thinking, oh my goodness, how lucky am I right now?
Mm-hmm. Do we have an image of Andy Hampsten winning the Giro? I forgot. Did we have that image? I mean, this is old school. Okay,
Yeah.
now again, this isn't what stopped the bike race today. But look, shout out to Andy and shit, I forget what year he
And
won.
Bobke was there too.
88.
Bobke was there.
Was it, so
helping.
that was 88. Bob, the great Bob Roll, who hint will play a factor in our trivia question today, was there helping Andy. I mean, this is old school. Like they don't race bikes in this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but shout out to Andy. That was a baller ride.
That was.
Well, I mean, before we talk about tomorrow and what needs to happen, we got to talk about Bernal being 22 years old and potentially winning the Tour at 22 years old.
Well, I mean, most likely winning the Tour.
Yeah.
And at this, he wasn't the youngest rider in the Tour. At the start, there was a Belgian.
Philipsen.
Yeah, this kid was the youngest, but now he's abandoned the race. So now he is the youngest rider left in the race. And boy, do several things. I mean, for the country of Colombia. Okay, here we go, George. Do we have any?
Cue. They are going nuts in Colombia right now. Guaranteed. Actually, we should go to Colombia right after this.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, and for those curious, because I'm a nerd about this stuff. Like, is 22? Boy, got to be one of the youngest, if not the youngest guy to ever win the Tour. He's not. Turns out the youngest guy to ever win the Tour de France was Henri Cornet. Henri Cornet in 1904. He was the youngest ever winner of the Tour de France at age 19. Cornet actually finished fifth, but was awarded the victory after the first four riders, Maurice Garin, Lucien Potier, César Garin, and Hippolyte were all disqualified. So he goes, homie goes from chicken shit to chicken salad, fifth to first. So he's not the, but if and in fact I do think it was funny. Johan's like, can we go? Because he had Bernal picked originally, and then he switched his allegiance to Thibaut Pinot, and today we had him on the. He's like, "Can we go back to our original predictions?" But if in fact he holds on, we may be looking at 10+ years of a guy, assuming he keeps his life together and his lifestyle.
I don't know when we should start talking about next year's Tour de France. When you bring back Froome, you bring back
Throwing Carapaz.
Demoulin, throwing Carapaz. Carapaz.
Look at that team. Those four guys.
Bernal, Geraint Thomas, and Froome on the same team. I mean, they can't all race the Tour de France. They're all winners of Grand Tours. What's going to happen?
Well, Bernal wins. He goes back to the Tour. Froome obviously comes back to the Tour.
And Geraint Thomas.
Carapaz has to ride the Giro on the Vuelta.
Well, even with Geraint Thomas, Froome, and Bernal, I mean, it's going to be
it ain't over.
Tricky situation. It ain't over. Anything can happen tomorrow, and we're talking about potentially bad weather tomorrow as well.
Bad cold rain. A lot of now all of a sudden you got the pressure of the yellow jersey. Everything's going to change because now Ineos will go back to what they're used to doing, which is going to the front, riding their tempo, letting guys jump off the front, just reeling them back. But what I'll be interesting to see tomorrow is Geraint Thomas going to work for Bernal? That's the question. He's in third place. He's got to.
Is he going to set the tempo for Bernal? Yeah. I don't know.
He's got to. I mean, if Johan Brunel was directing that team, he has to.
If Lance Armstrong was in third,
I had to do it. I had to do it at the damn 2009 Tour de France for the Pink Whistler.
Yeah, right.
Had to ride for that little.
Well, they got a gift today, and they just got to go with that.
He got a gift. I mean, smart. I mean, obviously very impressive. He was. I mean, Kreisbeck tried to stay with him. Nobody could stay with him. So, but he timed it perfectly, and as fate would have it, Jay-Z appeared, a.k.a. the weather.
There's no doubt that he rode away from them. He was the strongest.
Yep. And it wasn't even an attack. It was just
I think the person who lost the most out of this was Geraint Thomas.
Yes.
He's in the second group. He can sit on Jumbo-Visma. He doesn't have to do any work through that whole valley. I mean, we're discounting how important this downhill and this valley is in terms of your saving your effort and being able to ride full gas up a 7K climb. I think Geraint Thomas potentially lost the most out of today's decision to cancel the race.
Yeah. Before we talk more about that and tomorrow, let's do some Mo business. Today's show also brought to you by Roca. These are the sickest, coolest shades. Today I'm actually rocked the, how about this look? The titanium aviators. I mean, hello. Titanium aviators? I mean, you feel those.
No, I mean, everything they make is just super light. And
titanium frames?
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
it's so sick.
Awesome.
And then the grippy ear technology here, whether you're running, hiking, riding, whatever, golfing, there's no slip. I think these are truly the coolest shit. How's this look? All right. Started by athletes, 4 athletes out of Austin, Texas, out of a garage. For our listeners, 20% off their first purchase. Go to Roka, ROKA.com. And they got it all. They got the titanium aviators. They got the signature exclusive mauve colored shade. And they got readers. Where's your glasses today?
I'm they're in my bag here. I use them to read that, but
You made
my
notes.
screen is.
By the way, yeah, Patron. Can I have another Patron? Second
No.
Patron of the day. My second Patron of the day is JB, and because he survived last night and did not end up like he did the other night.
No, I was very careful of that.
Right.
When I walked in there, I
Don't
was
we
like,
have
I
a-
am not
Well, I
sleeping
got you.
here.
Yeah.
This we got. You don't know this, JB, but we got an email, and then I have one more bit of business, and then we'll talk about tomorrow. This comes in from Christine Curie. I think that's how you say it. Currie, Curie. Dear JB, this one's for you. Your grace and quiet calm, quite literally in the middle of the storm of big, albeit funny and entertaining characters, has been one of the best parts of the Tour de France this year. Thank you for being the anchor of both podcasts every day. While my kids and I eagerly await the, quote, See in the Douches t-shirt, which, by the way, is already sold out.
One day.
In one day, I have yet another t-shirt idea, especially for you and Johan's fans. And it's a little, I don't know if we can see it. We could maybe pull it up. But JB squared. Look at that. Can you see? JB squared, right? I'm not sure if this if it comes across, but it's JB squared. Thanks again for all your hard work. Cheers, Christine. That's for you. I guess it's for both of y'all.
Yeah.
Both the JBs.
Yeah. You got. I mean, hopefully everybody's listening. I know a lot of people watch the shows on YouTube and Facebook. If you're not a podcast user, you should be listening to Johan.
Yep.
His insights, unbelievable.
No doubt.
And
by the way, not for nothing, like Johan's, because we see all these things, I'm honored and humbled and proud to say this is the biggest podcast in cycling. Johan's show is the second biggest podcast in cycling. I mean, his numbers are, his insight is that good. He has the second biggest podcast in cycling. I mean, think about that. This guy's,
Well, it should
yes,
be.
he should.
The guy has been through pretty much any tactical scenario imaginable. So he's been there, seen it all, and he's at the call. The one great thing about Johan was he was never indecisive. He made the calls, and everybody listened.
Right, and the best do. I mean, that's what I love about Matt White. I mean, it's his way or the highway kind of thing, and that's the way it was with Johan. Last bit of business today. Show also brought to you by High Brew Coffee, 6 different flavors. Worldwide sponsor of the Moves Hollow Can, which George brings to us on the sprint days. All new flavor here, the Triple Shot. Triple Shot Black, 11-ounce can, 3 times the caffeine, sugar-free, cold brew for those who do. Our friends in Austin, Texas, Dave and the whole crew. 20% off for our listeners and viewers and watchers or whatever you are. highbrewcoffee.com and use the code 20 for 20%. 20 the move.
Interesting thing just popped across my screen from yesterday's, from also Columbia Day with Nairo winning, was that Nairo went a minute faster than anybody's ever gone up the Galibier. So the first time before that was Frank Schleck in 2011, which I was there helping out Cadel Evans, my good friend and teammate at the time, win the Tour de France. But Frank Schleck went a minute slower than Nairo did yesterday. Imagine that. So the Colombians are flying up these mountains.
It's
this
funny
year.
you mentioned that because Johan did mention that yesterday on that show, on the additional show. But he constantly is pointing out how fast people go up climbs, whether they're in the lead or not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where are you getting this information? He's like, oh, I cannot tell you that. But, it's that kind of insight.
Yeah.
He's like, he's watching how fast different riders go up a climb, regardless of where they are.
I think Lance and I can guess where he's getting that information from.
I wasn't even listening. I was reading something else. I got a text here from Rob, my buddy Rob, in Boise.
Mm-hmm.
Boise. His buddy Eddie was at the finish today, and he said there was a mudslide hours before.
Huh.
On the final climb, and that they just waited. Maybe I don't.
Yeah, it's unrelated to the hailstorm and snowstorm, probably, or
no, but
or
on
not.
the final climb.
Yeah.
Wild. It's just, and you saw it just the I mean, even Christian Prudhomme, I think, is most of the time confused, but he was super confused today, like just standing around. It was surreal. It was. Yeah, we'll be talking about this one for a long time. This tour just doesn't stop surprising and being entertaining.
So is what George said earlier what you expect tomorrow? Ineos does what they do. Control keeps the tempo high.
Yeah, we're going to start talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow, like Lance said, the race is not over.
What else are we going to talk about?
We got 3 big climbs. The race starts on the Category 1 climb. The guys did not...
Short day.
A short day. The guys didn't really get their typical post-race cool down and routine that they're used to. So the legs are going to be all off tomorrow. But Ineos is back to where they're used to being, which is controlling the race. You didn't see all the guys like Dylan Van Baart and Poles rode a great race today, but some of their guys like Kwiatkowski was dropped early. So it's definitely not over, and I'm very curious to see how Geraint Thomas is going to help Bernal tomorrow, or just try to ride away.
Then what's your podium prediction then? Because Alaphilippe probably not going to hang on.
He's not. He can't hang on.
Right.
And his comments, I think, suggest that he's. Look, if the yellow jersey makes you ride twice as fast and twice as strong and twice the man, losing it also works the other way. I wouldn't be surprised to see him attack. He's an aggressive kid. I wouldn't be surprised to see him attack early. By the way, the first climb starts at 9 miles, so they'll be full-on warm-up mode. You have a day that's 80 miles. I mean, you got to be ready. The first climb is a Cat 1.
Yeah, it's going to be cold tomorrow.
Warm up. Bad weather. You got to be ready. It's going to be guns a-blazing.
If it's raining tomorrow.
Wait, that mean we got to get up even earlier tomorrow?
Tomorrow we got to get up early.
And you looked at the forecast. Like, we could have similar issues.
You could
tomorrow.
have. It's
if
definitely
it's raining tomorrow with all these descents, I'm not counting out Alaphilippe because the dude can take some massive risks on these descents.
Stop it right now.
I'm not counting him out. Okay.
Since you're saying such crazy shit, can we bring up the Shining image? You talk about crazy, folks. This is crazy. I mean, what? The 50 showdown. This is about the only way I can stay close to George because there's a tandem bike. But look at that. That's next level weird.
That is very weird.
What else do we have in terms of? Armstrong versus Hincapie. No Mercy is coming on July 28th.
How come I'm always the bad guy in these pictures? I'm the Russian. I'm the guy, the bully. Guys, you have it backwards. I should be the Karate Kid. I'm the nice guy.
That's a great observation.
It's just that's the way they do it. It's the Gaspin and Aspen. Fear does not exist in the dojo. The race before the race to settle the score and at the end of the tour. Go back. I didn't see JB as the ref.
Yeah, JB is the ref.
The ref.
Oh, good.
Okay, well, last one. Hello. Wow.
By the way, if you're just listening to this podcast, you're going to have to follow our socials to see this.
Yeah.
We'll have them all over Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
That's
funny
cute
stuff.
But I agree with George that the weather will be a factor. I don't think
the weather's going to be a factor.
I think Alaphilippe's morale is just, and he knows he got lucky.
So then it's Bernal, Thomas, Kruijswijk.
I mean,
If Alaphilippe doesn't recover,
I would be talking this entire show about Kruijswijk if he could have stayed with Bernal, but he clearly, I mean, he couldn't stay on that wheel. It wasn't like he tried.
Yeah,
not like he chose not to. He tried and then just couldn't, and then couldn't hold the wheel or thought that tempo was too hard. But hey.
Definitely not.
I mean, we're all listen. Anybody sitting around thinking they know what's going to happen, you're wrong. because nobody has.
We still don't know. I mean,
happening.
and like you said, the youngest guy in the race, he's never had the pressure of a whole country on his shoulders. He's about to do something that will make history forever in his country. I mean,
crazy.
Imagine that pressure. Going into tomorrow, very difficult.
He seems pretty
potentially technical stage
pretty
of the
calm
training.
and cool.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's a. That's just
he ain't sleeping tonight. I pretty much guarantee you that.
Stop it. Well, he's got one more day. So
Yeah.
even if you don't, that's a good point though. Actually, if you don't sleep, we used to always think, because guys get nervous before
Yeah.
big events, that the most critical night of sleep is the night of sleep 2 nights before, because you just have to assume people get nervous and you can't sleep the night before. So he'd be fine.
Yeah,
I think, and he can handle his bike. I said it in the preview show. This kid, which is rare to see a Colombian on the podium at the Mountain Bike World Championships. He was twice on the podium in the Junior World Mountain Bike Championship. That just goes to show you, or says that he's comfortable on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
Should we
Speaking
do the
of mountain biking, maybe ask her, get the trivia question going.
Yeah. No, but that actually the trivia question of the day, and I'm going to introduce our special guest. It has a mountain bike component. So our special guest today is this man to my left's beautiful bride, Melanie Hincapie. Now, let's just a little bit of history. Before Mel walks in here, a little bit of history. All right, come on, sit here, honey. Come on in. Viens ici. Whatever way you want to go. Just don't trip. So this is the 2003 Tour de France. And this boy to my left is so smitten, he can't even speak. He sees this woman who's on the podium every day with yours truly, giving me kisses, saying, and he's like crash coursing on French. And he writes her this note with his phone number, and I'm like, shit, that ain't gonna work. They ain't never gonna work. Well, 3 kids later. Gosh, 16 years later, here we are. Voila, as they say in France. So we got Mel in here today to read our RoadID daily trivia contest. Mel, just don't read that part. Read that part. Okay.
All right.
En anglais, s'il vous plaît.
Okay. I'll try not to do some French. All right. It's time for today's daily dose of RoadID Tour Trivia. To play, head on over to roadid.com/France. Today's question. Who was the first American to compete in the Tour and a World Cup mountain biking event? Go to roadid.com/France to answer this question and score a chance to win today's daily prize, a Thule T2 Pro XT bike rack. One lucky winner will even take home a $10,000 BMC shopping spree. Again, that's roadid.com/France.
And our 4 choices.
4 choices are Bob Roll, Greg LeMond, Levi Leifheimer, or George Hincapie.
Oh, it's not D.
Good job, babe.
Mel, my favorite Mel story was, and I don't know what she was trying to say, but this is early on when she was just learning English, and she was getting really mad at me about something, and again, rough. The English was just the English is perfect now, babe. But she was so mad at me. She goes, "Do your life." And I was like, "What? Of course. What the? Do your life." So that's all I ever say now. I was like, "Do your life."
Every time, yeah.
Another t-shirt.
New t-shirt.
Another t-shirt. Do your life.
Do your life. We'll give you the proceeds, Mel.
Yeah.
All right.
And this is the beauty that made our paella dinner last night for like shit.
It's outstanding.
Bunch of us. It was outstandanding.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it today though. Not because of the paella.
That's our go-to summer dish.
Yeah. So here's another thing. So this kind of we made this up, or Higgs made this up at the last minute. So we've got a poster. Mel, you hold it. Just like a. Actually, this is a good idea because this is a boxing theme. And like in boxing, the girls come out like in the middle of the rounds. So just kind of act like that for a second. There it is. So this is a poster for the World Heavyweight Action, direct from Aspen, et cetera, Melee in the Mountains. So we're gonna make 50. We've made 50 of these. You and I are both gonna sign them. We're gonna sell them for $100. I know that's up there, but all proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, go to one of my favorite charities, Wapi Api, which is a summer camp for kids with cancer and their siblings. And you can actually check them out, wapiapi.com, or just Google Wapi Api. But $100, only 50 of them for Wapi Api. Merci, Mel. Do your life.
Merci, Mel.
Go do your life. The girls are across the street having breakfast. If you want to go over there and just talk shit about us.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, merci. Oh, kiss. Bisous. Whoa, 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 whoa. Really? You're going to leave the man without a kiss? Oh. Hello.
Oh, also
That was porn music.
On the subject of RoadID, they are offering this right now, this limited edition.
Oh, it's back.
Bob Roll on an ostrich. Let's ride
Love that.
T.
Yeah. They did that years ago, and it sold like hotcakes.
They brought it back.
He's back.
Just letting you know if you want to check that out.
All right, what else we got to talk about?
Any questions or comments from today? I mean, I'm wondering if people are.
Laptop is shut. I don't know.
No. I figured that we were just going to be immersed in the stage cancel that we've never seen.
Yep.
I would like a race update on confidence from you two for the Sunday race between you two.
Mm-hmm.
Any, I think you posted a video yesterday. You would
Yeah.
at the top
So that-
of one of the climbs
Yeah.
well before Lance.
Well, I was out riding with Lionel Conacher, my partner at Next Ventures, and we were having actually a business discussion back there. So he was on a rented bike. It was heavy. I felt like staying with him and just taking care of some business. George thought I was dropped.
So you were actually trying to be nice.
Yeah, I was trying.
That's
Speaking of,
Well, we're
I'm about to not be nice. Okay, I'm gonna go back on this again. We have to have a different format for the polka dot jersey to see. I mean, not only did Bardet have the jersey, they did the helmet, they did all blah blah blah. Dropped like a hot rock. The Egan Bernal is the best climber in this tour. Now he may have the points.
He
now.
might have it.
or as you said when we were watching today, look at the polka dot jersey being dropped by Domestiques.
Did I say that today?
You did say that.
Wow.
And you also said
I could beat him in a time trial, but
You also said today that I'm finally enjoying this tour.
that was before they canceled.
Before they canceled
before
it.
they
It was that was a bike race today, and it just happened like that. We were watching NBC coverage. Steve Perino says they've just canceled. They've just canceled the race, canceled the stage. I was like, what?
Well, I think I told you right before. He said it on TV.
I know, but it's one of these things like you don't want to believe it. You
yeah.
can't believe it. The guy you saw said at the top of the show, like the guys didn't want to believe it. They're like, we're gonna keep riding. So crazy.
Well, we're back tomorrow. We will field more questions and comments for these guys or for Johan.
Expect another stage full of fireworks tomorrow. I mean, it's the last big day, so it'll
Yeah.
be really interesting.
Send those to the move at we do.
And when we went when we went live here, there was still not official results.
I kept checking. I checked.
Which is
several
just, we were 90 minutes after the finish. Even still, I'm not seeing, even on the official Tour de France app, that is wild. I mean,
Yeah, we ain't never seen anything like that.
yeah.
Oh, it just posted.
Come on.
The GC.
Okay.
Literally just now. Anything riveting there? Bernal, Alaphilippe,
how do you
48
get-
seconds back. Thomas, a minute 16. Kreuzwick, a minute 28. Buckman, a minute 55.
How about this guy, Manuel Buckman? Nobody talks about him. He's just hanging in there.
He's hanging in.
I know. Just quietly kicking ass, and he could end up on the podium.
He's gonna end up just off the podium. I mean, you have to believe the podium is Bernal, Thomas, and Kreiswick. One thing to note as well, and he was my long shot, and my pick is Kreiswick. He needs to work on his descending. He's getting gapped off on every corner, on every descent. So we got 3 big climbs, 2 big descents. If it's wet, you can lose a bike race on a wet downhill.
If it's
Promise
wet,
you.
anything can happen
Yeah,
tomorrow.
anything
I mean,
can
it's
happen.
going to be chaos.
All bets are off. See you in the douches.
See you in the douches.
Do your life.